Hello guys, welcome back to another coaster review. Today I'll be looking at Verbolten, which is an indoor/outdoor launched family coaster located at Busch Gardens Williamsburg and was built by Zierer in 2012. This ride is located in the Oktoberfest area of the park and replaced the famous Big Bad Wolf, which is an old aero suspended coaster that closed in 2009. This ride is noted for its indoor section, surprised elements, and heavy theming. This ride is not often talked about by many people due to it being a family coaster in a park with other rides like Alpengeist, Apollo's Chariot, and soon to open, Pantheon, which is a shame because it genuinely can be a very fun and intense coaster at times. So let's take a deep dive into this Verboten coaster. After the Big Bad Wolf, an aero-suspended coaster which opened in 1984 reached the end of its 25-year service life in 2009, Busch Gardens Williamsburg had to make a decision. Either renovate, refurbish, and continue to support and maintain an old ride that's operating beyond its intended lifespan, requiring many maintenance changes and work to be done to keep it in good condition and safe operating order, or close the ride and scrap it to avoid a maintenance headache and not overstress the aging ride. The park sadly chose the latter decision, and in late 2009, the ride closed forever and was torn down soon after. Shortly after, as people were still mourning, the park began looking for a replacement behind the scenes. Though the ride's design was not fully fleshed out yet, it would be intended to serve as a replacement to the old Aerodynamics coaster, being designed in the sweet spot between family and thrill, as well as following possibly a similar path to the original Wolf. As the project went all the way into 2011, dedicated fans were able to find out some key info on the ride. First, it was discovered that there would be an indoor section to the ride and would feature launches, unlike its previous counterpart. Then, it was found that a German company, Zierer, was chosen to be contracted to build the ride. The coaster would have a double loading station, and the trains would be auto-themed, and the indoor section would be forest-themed, among other information. In addition, the ride would end off with a final big drop on a bridge facade following the same path as the second drop on the Big Bad Wolf originally did over the Rhine River. An interesting tribute to a lost coaster. Eventually, all this information was confirmed when Verbolten was announced by the park at their Howl Scream event. Construction went on, with the discovery that the ride would include a first-of-its-kind feature in North America. As 2012 began, people wondered if the ride would live up to its famous predecessor. In the May of that year, the ride officially opened to the public to mixed reception. While many enjoyed the unique theming, others were more vocal in the fact that the ride was just not the same as the original Wolf. So, what do I think of it? As you roll out of the station, you take a little left and right turn in sort of a peaceful beginning to the ride before you enter a tunnel. Spoiler alert, please skip ahead to the following point if you do not want to have any blind experiences ruined on this ride. When you enter the tunnel, at first, you'll be exposed to one of three stories on the ride. A wolf theme, which is a tribute to the Big Bad Wolf, a storm theme, which is what I believe I got when I rode this in 2018, and another called Spirit of the Forest. You finish the launch with an awesome airtime moment before you drop and go through this very intense 180-degree turn, and I was like, what the heck? I was saying that out loud on the first turn because the positive G's are very intense on this ride. You then go into another 540-degree turn, this time in the leftward direction as the first turn was in the rightward direction. But after you do all that, you go through a mid-course in the dark, and then you drop down into this surprisingly big turn. I thought it was just like a simple flat turn, but no, it's like a little dip. And then you go into another mid-course in the dark, and then you roll all the way to the end of this mysterious section. Eventually you hit this weird dead end where creepy music plays and there's a lot of suspense until the lights go on and a creepy face suddenly appears for a second before you drop on the coaster's drop track. This is an awesome element and it takes you by surprise, and you're in free fall and you're panicking for a second, then you slow down again, you're laughing your butt off as you lower down and get ready for the second launch. Once you're down with that, you launch up and move up a hill onto this big bridge with the creaking sound effects, as I mentioned in the history section. As you go over a mid-course, and you complete the final drop and turn before you navigate through some wooded elements, turn, even go over an airtime hill, and then make a final 180-degree left-hand turn into the final brake run. At this point in the ride, I felt great. I felt awesome. I felt pumped. It was awesome. I really liked the ride. I was ready to jump out of my seat, go back in line once again, except the line was really long, so I probably would have passed that. But still, I really liked my ride, and I was really happy about it. This is a very well-themed coaster, and the park and Zierer ultimately did an awesome job making the ride. I even feel it might be better than the Big Bad Wolf. Yes, you heard me right. Though I've never ridden the Wolf, so I could be wrong, but hear me out. The theming is nice and immersive, the layout is decent and even intense at times, and overall, it's a great experience. The coaster also has a lot of great scenery around it, such as the Rhine River and all the forest around it. I particularly like the indoor section with all the crazy positive G's and sound effects, which really immerse you in the Black Forest experience. There's also this industrial air conditioning inside the building as well, so you feel a cool breeze as you navigate the compact stretch of track. I also find it cool how there's like a bunch of brake runs on the track because this has to run 5 trains at maximum with a double loading station. This ride's a textbook example of a people eater. I also like the theming that was in the queue line with nice decorations. It's not quite Disney level, but it's well done and detailed overall. I personally got to ride once in the front row of the red train, which is considered to be one of the smoother and better trains, and it was also the train used in virtually all the marketing of this ride, so that's a plus 2. Another point I would like to make is that this ride is pretty smooth. I've heard from people that there's kind of annoying vibration on the ride, but when I first rode it, I noticed that this vibration was a lot less prevalent and not really annoying at all. In fact, it seemed it was barely noticeable and didn't interfere with the ride in any way. I've heard from someone that the red train is smoother and that other trains do have a problematic vibration or rattle, though take this with a massive grain of salt because I do not know whether that is really true. I could just have gotten a lucky ride and those trains are just as smooth. But anyway, in my opinion, any claims of roughness are exaggerated. This ride is pretty smooth. But for the verdict, I'll start off with the aggression rating, which will be a blue square again. This ride does not go upside down or do anything that insane. It's not a kiddie coaster either, and is admittedly targeted at families in a lot of respects, so this rating in my mind is pretty clear. As for the pros of the ride, it has a fun special element. It's well themed and has intense moments which will confuse and push you around into your seat. However, there are cons as well, notably how this ride was meant for families, even with some intense parts, which means it won't be as intense or fully thrilling as some of the other rides in the park, which is why this ride does not receive as much hype as, say, Griffin. Additionally, the second half of the ride, after the second launch and the final drop, are kind of boring, and you do meander around a bit, and it can feel a little dead, even for a few moments. This ride was made for families, but even the Wolf had some cool swinging when it was going back up the hill. Finally, there's an annoying German lady in the frickin' station. So with all these pros and cons out of the way, what would be my final score? Well, overall, I would give this coaster a B+ score. Not far above Invader. This is because of the fact that this is still, again, a family coaster, but it's well decorated and themed for sure. This ride is also fun and intense at many spots, though, as I said, it's not really the best or perfect. Right now, it is still my favorite family coaster that I have ridden so far, due to several features I previously mentioned. All of these well-designed features and great elements ultimately put it above the Bavarian village you swing through on the Big Bad Wolf in my mind. The coaster seemed to be a great ride, but the simple swinging seemed to be nothing compared to the indoor sections and intensity that you can find on Verbolten. And I think it's a good ride to check out if you're at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Though lines can be long even with the big capacity, since this is a popular ride at the park, so be careful. That's going to be all for my review today. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. If you would like to suggest another review or video idea, feel free to share it down below in the comments section. And I hope none of you dislike bomb this or dogpile me for my opinions. But anyway, sorry for the brief delay. Peace out.